Hello, welcome to the Tarot Cottage. My name is Amy. I'm back today with a pick a card reading for you. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of my beautiful returning subscribers. Thank you to everybody who has dropped me comments below my videos this month. And a little reminder that I'm still waiting to hear back from my most recent winner. So if you are chosen the winner, I do respond to your comment and I give you instructions on how to reach out to me. So be sure to check your comments. And if you have left a comment, be sure to go back and check that comment and hit your notification bell at the same time, because that's my way of notifying you if you are chosen the winner. And if you have stumbled here for the very first time, I do pick a card readings on this channel. I try to release at least a couple of times a week, so be sure to check back with me often because I usually have new content every single week. Unless I'm on vacation, and I usually tell you guys when I'm going on vacation. But I do pick a card readings on this channel. So if you're into tarot, please pull up and get cozy. We're going to have a little chat today because we're all friends when we gather around my table. I like to make this an inclusive space. We have beautiful subscribers here who help each other, especially in the comments section, because we're all dealing with the same themes in life. We're all dealing with the same struggles. And so it's important for us to walk each other home. And so I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate the support you show each other as well in the comments section. And if you are new here, please join us. We would love to have you here as a part of our beautiful soul family. For today's pick a card topic, we're looking at the person on your mind and we're asking the question, do they still care? Have they moved on from you? And we're going to take a look at what the future of this connection might look like if there's going to be movement. But we have 3 piles to choose from today. Pile number 1 here with the pink flower. Pile number 2 with the yellow flower. And pile number 3 with the purplish flower. So whichever pile or piles or images are calling out to you today, my timestamps are listed below, and I'm going to jump right into pile number 1. Again, it's all about the person on your mind and have they moved on from you? Where are they in the process of this connection? Do they still care? Pile number 1. Hello, pile number 1. You were drawn to the pink flower. You're also drawn here to this lady with the sewing needle and the King of Swords, it says. Now, this particular deck has both kings and queens, but also a female version of the king, which I can appreciate. And so you could be an air sign, perhaps. You may feel like you're trying to hold on to logic when it comes to this connection, and it may be very difficult for you to do so. You could be a Gemini, maybe. But we also have here this sewing needle, which talks about mending things and perhaps unfinished business that you feel like lies in the balance of this connection in some way. And whenever I see the sewing needle, I think about that Bible verse about how it's easier for a rich man to get to heaven, it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to get to heaven. So there's like an impossibility, or there's difficulties in the very least when it comes to mending things, when it comes to revelations. So let's see what Spirit has to say today. Ooh, do they still care, please, about pile number 1? Do they still care? Have they moved on from pile number 1? We have the 6 of Cups. This could be somebody from your past, pile 1. This could be somebody that you came of age with or you grew up with in some way. And there's you can even see here in the very corner of this card, there's a little gray guard here. And so there's a lot of contemplation over this connection, because I often think of the Hermit with the shade of gray, and there's a lot of nostalgia surrounding this person too. So you feel very intently about them, but they may also feel very strongly towards you. You can see the Divine Masculine energy handing her a bouquet of flowers, because there's something about you and about this connection that's going to stay present within this person for a long time. Sometimes that's a permanent state of emotion, to be honest. We have the Ace of Wands showing itself as well. And for someone watching, this was a friendship that there were sparks. Maybe it never progressed, but there were sparks that were there. It does represent in this moment, it's like being at a crossroads with someone and maybe taking the wrong path, like being at a benchmark. The two of you came to a benchmark together in your past, and maybe there was no vulnerability that was needed in that moment, so we didn't progress the way that we needed to. So that it does feel like there are unfinished cycles between the two of you, or in the very least things that have not been said or expressed that you feel might require that. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Have they moved on? Do they still care? The 9 of Cups. the Queen of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. So the Divine Feminine could definitely be an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. This person wonders if you still care. To be honest, they wonder if your perception of them is very similar. And I feel like there is the weight that you're carrying is the same weight that this person is carrying. The unknown. And that's what it feels like. It's the weight of the unknown. It's like, I'll never know. But I feel like they almost thought that they did. I feel like there's an understanding in this connection. And it's still present today. It's still present today, this understanding about this connection, but it was never communicated. I feel like way too much passive approach when it comes to this person from your end of things and from their end of things towards you. A very lack, it's like a lack of movement, a lack of approach. And there's almost like this person depended on the fact that this connection was strong and intense and depended on the fact that they knew that you felt something for them to give themselves the permission to be passive and to give themselves the permission to procrastinate. And that did not serve them at all. Because they're still holding on to a belief system surrounding you. It's almost like they have a crush on you. But I feel like it's mutual. Like I feel like they still crush upon you. And that's in the present energy. But here with the Queen of Swords, it's like they feel like you don't feel the same way, or they're not certain that you do. They're smug in this belief that maybe you do, and they want to maintain that. They don't even want to be told that that's not the truth if it's not the truth in the present moment. So they are holding on, and I feel like, again, they're going to hold on maybe even forever. There's always going to be a special place that you do hold. They are contemplating you quite a bit. Here is the Hermit. They could perhaps be the Virgo energy here. And that star of Aquarius in the Lantern, you could be the Aquarius, and that's what they're kind of still focused on. They're still thinking about you. And here's the Death energy with the Three of Cups, and there's so much reunion energy here too. I feel like this person doesn't want to give up the possibility that there could be reunions in the future of this connection. I feel like they don't want to give up that hope. But I also feel that they are very passive in their approach as well. How do they currently feel, please? Have they moved on in this connection? We have the Wheel of Fortune. They are stuck. If you take a look at this wheel, look at all of those cords, all the loose ends, and they're all the colors of the rainbow, which is the full spectrum, which means that they didn't offer that. There's a lot of loose ends that didn't get tied up when it comes to your connection, and it's left in the balance now. I feel like they were waiting for you. Maybe you were waiting for them to say something. And we ran out of time. We have the Eight of Wands with the Knight of Cups. I can say confidently with your pile that this person still feels a pressure to even communicate with you. It's like they want to know what your perception of them is because they really, really value your opinion. And I feel like this would be the type of person that you would look back and be like, they are on the pedestal. I compare other people to this person. This is someone who has been generous with me. This is somebody that perhaps never had the opportunity to hurt me. So I hold them on this pedestal, and they want to maintain that. They want to be like this knight in shining armor energy. Here's the Ten of Cups. Oh my goodness. And this particular Ten of Cups, I think I said this in a recent video too. The fives, I separate the loss, the Five of Cups and the Five of Cups. And all of this loss, it's very mutual between the two of you. It's like shoulda, coulda, woulda energy, and it connects the two of you in this present moment. They have not moved on, pile one. They're kind of holding on to the reality now. The full spectrum has been available to them since the separation, and now they're really holding on to that truth. It's like I've finally seen the light, or they finally admitted to the light. Because in a perfect world, they feel like in a perfect world, they could go back in time. The two of you would execute some sort of opportunity, take that leap of faith together, allow yourself to be vulnerable, and they feel like you could have had a family together, or you could have grown something together that was really profound. And now they're left with the weight of that, pile one. They're left with the weight of that unknown, and the weight of this one of the infinite possibilities that they have come up with in their mind during this rumination about you. They've come up with this possibility of like, this is what we could have by now. But now this is their this is their fantasy. This is kind of what their dream is, but they're burdened with your reality. They don't know how you feel. Here's the Five of Wands, and here's the High Priestess. And I feel like you were just too afraid to take that risk. And I feel like even in the present realm, you're too afraid to take that risk, to reveal your truth, to reveal that it was just me feeling insecure about myself, or it was just me feeling like you would like someone else better than me in the past, or there's just such a competitive energy and a fear surrounded by the Five of Wands. And it's a hurdle that we all face in youth, where we're comparing ourselves to other people, and we allow the burden of our own opinion of ourselves to overwhelm us and to stop us from taking action when we know that we should. I feel like there's been years here. I just saw the Nine of Pentacles. And here's the Four of Cups. I feel like this person feels like it's almost part of their cross to bear now when it comes to your connection. Because they're like, I can't let go. I have to keep focusing. I'm stuck here. I'm helpless. It's like I'm at the mercy of you in some way, because now I have, and they're even connecting the 6 and the 4 back to the 10 here. It's like, now I have the full spectrum. Maybe I was too young and ill-equipped in the past to actually recognize what this opportunity was, and that was a folly of youth. But now I have the full spectrum, and I feel helpless with that news. With that, it's like an epiphany that comes in, or like a car accident that you can't unsee. Because here's the Death energy, and there's the Three of Cups. Here's the King of Wands with the Ace of Wands, and there's the little cherry blossom, which is fleeting innocence and fleeting opportunities and inspiration that comes in fleeting moments too, because now everything that they feel they have to suppress, and they are really focused on friendship and on reunions. I feel like they even miss just the friendship capacity of your relationship as well. Have they moved on, please, Spirit? Do they still care? What are their current feelings right this moment for pile number 1? We have here, wait. It's not time yet. Things are being woven. And they're still waiting. That's what it feels like. They waited in the past. They're waiting now. They're still holding on to the connection itself here. And we have the 7 Star Sisters, birthing creations, tapestry of life, and expression. Back of the deck says, weight of the world. Says boundaries, let it go, it's not yours to carry. And in this moment, I feel like the Divine Feminine, as much as they are applying the weight of the world towards their own shoulders, the Divine Feminine is still carrying the weight of that unknown as well. What is interesting about these 2 oracle cards, though, is that they recognize that perhaps they feel helpless to create change now, but there is still this desire to maintain. They have not released, they have not moved on, and it even says here they're creating a tapestry of life, perhaps connected to expression, but it's going to take some time to be able to execute. So they may have intentions ultimately, or feel the pressure to reach out to you, but they're really going to have to tap into that vulnerable aspect. How do they currently feel right this moment, please, towards pile number 1? We have here, keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type or expectations. And what's interesting to me is that I feel like in youth, we sometimes meet our twin flames or our prompts and triggers towards more, but we don't have enough awareness to recognize the opportunity as it is. And I feel like their minds are open now. I feel like their awareness has kind of been blown wide open, because now there's a codependency here. Addictions are affecting your romantic life, and we have very soon clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to decide. They're trying to weigh their options. The codependency, I often think of Capricorn and the devil energy and attachment, and somebody who wonders what you're doing. It's like they look out the window, just like she has this look of longing in her eyes, like looking out the window, wondering if you're looking out at the same moon that they're looking at. What are their current feelings, please, towards pile number 1? Abundance. They're trying to keep a positive mindset because they still want to manifest more. They have not released you. They have not moved on. And I mean, this doesn't mean that they haven't moved on into other practical things. It just means that they haven't given up on the emotional connection. We do it because there's seduction, attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, and third-party interference. So you or this person, you both may have moved into other dynamics, but the emotional connection, their inability to move on from that is still very, very present for you, pile number 1. Let's get a couple of message cards to see if I can find them. There they are. What their most current thoughts are about you. What was the most current thought, please, that pile 1's person had about them today? You are everything. And I just heard that Lauryn Hill song, what is meant to be will be. Everything is everything. What was meant to be will be. I feel like they have not given up at all. We have here, hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. So they're intimidated by you. They don't know how you perceive the situation. And I want it to be you and me at the end of the day. But I know that I have to be patient and be patient, and I do have to rely on that patience still. You are my secret wish, and it was connected to this card. Let's build together. So their secret wish connected to you, pile 1, is to build with you, is to have a life with you. It's a very sort of innocent energy that I'm feeling between the two of you. I feel like for most watching, you may not have ever moved into a physical relationship with this person. I want to move into a beautiful future with you. And the pressure is starting to build. And we did have the 8 of Wands, this desire, this momentum that's building inside of them and mounting towards movement, towards communication. I fantasize about being with you. And we also have, we don't always get what we want. And so it's like they're suffering with that reality of like, I don't always get what I want, but the fact is that I'm so thirsty is on the back of that deck. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 1. Advice for pile number 1 about the future of this connection. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Fool. We have the 3 of Swords. Now, I do feel like, you know, this one card came out because we didn't focus on a third party. We didn't focus on anybody else other than the 2 of you in this connection. And we're talking about whether or not they've moved on in an emotional sense, and they have not. But they did mention here third party interference, and that will not be a message that will resonate with everyone, but for someone that definitely will resonate, because it's in my bowl too, that there is this disappointment in themselves and disappointment in the current position of things, and that's what's causing the lack of movement now, perhaps because they feel like it's too risky. But the thoughts of you are their constant companion, even while they're working, even while they have other responsibilities mounting up. In the bowl today, we do have the 2 of Cups, so somebody who does secretly wish to be in a relationship with you. We have the 4-leaf clover of good luck for the divine feminine. And we have the honeybee with the shamanic feather. So I think about the sweet results that await, and I think about self-sacrifice. We have 2 4-leaf clovers. So it's like 2 people who mutually have a very strong connection still. There is secrecy involved, though, and unfinished business with the world. We do have Aries energy, and actually King of Wands came out here. So this person could be a fire sign. And we have music note reverse. It's like we could have made beautiful music together. And I'm also getting a message about a music class. So if you went to high school with this person, you could have been in music with them. But that's just for someone specific. All right, pile 1, that's what I have for you today. I hope it resonates with you. If it did, drop your comment below for a chance to win a free reading with me. Be sure to hit your notification bell and check your notifications if you've left past comments as well. You can also check out my link for Etsy for a personal reading, or for Instagram, where I just post, you know, little things about my life. Sometimes I post a free mini read option over there as well. But I hope you come back and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Hello, pile 2. You are drawn to the yellow flower and to the Temperance card, and this is your reading. Has the person on your mind moved on? Do they still care about you? The Temperance energy is all about balance, and when it comes into our view, it's a call for action, because it's a call for us to reflect upon what isn't balanced so that we can bring it back into alignment, so we can experience more joy in the present moment. So this could, and you can even see this little dome, or it's like a little cap over top that's kind of protecting her. And so there's an aspect about finding balance, protecting perhaps the connection in some way, and attempt to find peace. Now there's one bird that's flying and there's one bird that is not as well in this card. And even around her waist, I'm really drawn to the bow. So I feel like this person thinks very, very highly of you. You may think very highly of them as well. But let's take a look for you, pile 2. Has this person moved on? Do they still care about you? For pile number 2, please. All of those drawn to the Temperance energy. Have they moved on from this connection? Do they still care? We do have the Hermit, and we do have the 9 of Pentacles coming out first. Or I'm sorry, the Hermit and the 9 of Cups. We have the 2 of Cups. Have they moved on, Spirit? We have the 5 of Swords. Here is the 2 of Swords with the 6 of Wands. And we have the 8 of Swords. I feel like this person should have moved on. I feel like they are in a position where it would dictate that they most likely should have moved on. We have the 7 of Wands and we have the Star. The Temperance, though, I feel like is representing their struggle or their attempt to move forward. It's like they can't move on and maintain the protection over this connection, and that's where they're falling short with their ability to cope with the loss in some way. I feel like for some watching, though, this person perhaps has transitioned into other relationships and they have a reason to let go, but they're still at this crossroads. They're still suffering from the loss in some way, and they're still trying to tap into the strength to be able to finish the process, because they're feeling kind of stuck. And you can even notice here that in this card, it looks like she's in mourning. She's down on her knees, she's waiting, and there seems to be somebody waiting for her behind. It's like waiting for her to get up, waiting for her to stop the mourning process. So I feel like there's an aspect of somebody waiting for this person to release, and maybe not even knowingly, but waiting for the release, and it hasn't come yet. It could even be their higher selves waiting for them to wrap it up, finish the process, but it's like they're like, I can't. It's like I'm in this prison. But the 8 of Swords says, but you put yourself in there. It's like a wasp nest, or a wasp trap rather. They can get in, but they get so worked up and so disoriented, and they get so focused on the worry and fear that they can't get themselves back out where they came in. Now we're starting the process here with the Hermit and with the 9 of Cups, because the 9 of Cups is a wish energy, and you can notice that there's people wearing masks here. Even in the 2 of Cups, there's people wearing masks in this card as well, because I feel like there's masks being worn in current relationships when it comes to this connection, that there's masks being worn. So maybe this is not even in complete disconnect, but it's in an emotional separation of some kind. Absolutely. Because right in the center is the 5 of Swords, and that's conflict. And that's somebody who's struggling to overcome this particular hurdle. Even though, you know, there's an aspect of knowing that they probably should, they're having a difficult time doing that without themselves also losing. It's like there's no actual winner right now in the current state of affairs between the two of you. There's no winner. Not you, not them, not even other people involved. There's no actual winner. And they're still wearing masks even in their environments. It's like they can't fully commit in those environments because of this attachment that they still feel. And they're sort of stuck in that energy. It's like they feel like they have to sacrifice it in order to move on. And I feel like they're unwilling to sacrifice because they've spent so much time focusing upon it. It's really hard to break that kind of habit. You know, when we focus upon something with unwavering faith, when something feels out of our reach, but we keep wanting it and wanting it, that creates a habit, and it almost creates a addiction energy. It's like every time we have a thought, our body releases a corresponding emotion to our thought, and our emotions that get released are corresponded to instructions that our body release when it comes to chemical releases. And so we become addicted to certain chemicals. Even if they're positive or negative thoughts, it doesn't matter. We become addicted to them. And this person does feel sort of addicted to you, pile 1. Let me use the traditional record for you. We have the Page of Swords. It's also very difficult for this person to move on when I feel like they're keeping tabs on you. Again, they're precipitating the rumination of this want because they keep watching or they keep focusing upon you in whatever capacity they're able to. For some, they could be watching you online. For others, they're looking at nostalgia or pictures from the past that involve you. And there's a feeling of learning a lot during that phase. So you may have gone to school with this person. So please take that as it resonates. This was supposed to be, Spirit says, a temporary problem. But all of these clouds, it's supposed to be a temporary problem. But they have precipitated the attachment. Here's the Six of Cups. I do feel like within this connection, this person does utilize what they would call the perfection of your relationship, and they compare it to what they're experiencing now, or they compare it to other situations. And when we put rose-colored glasses all over this type of connection, it will hide the red flags that even exist there. And so it's like we prioritize how good this is and how innocent this is and how perfect it is. And all that does is highlight how unsatisfied we may feel in our present realm. And so I feel like even if there are other people, there's not a lot of satisfaction in this present moment because they keep focusing upon reunions. And it's hard to find satisfaction in what's sitting right in front of us if our thoughts are always somewhere else. And that's what it feels like. Their thoughts are always somewhere else. And with the Seven of Wands as your backup deck, it's not that they can't move on. It's that they're not determined enough because they keep fueling their own cycle with you. And they keep prioritizing that focus because you're like the star, you're the Aquarius energy that they're hoping for, that they still wish upon, but seems out of reach without, in the very least, having to suffer in some capacity, having to open up their truth, having to be honest with themselves or other people. I feel like they're still very loyal to you. And yet that loyalty to you is testing their loyalty in other realms here. And it's defying the logic that they have. Because the Five of Swords, it's all about clearance and growth and fixing the conflict so that we can achieve more. But sometimes it requires the vulnerability of release, of making room for growth. I also feel like they're protecting, if they are in another connection, and that's not for everyone, but if they are in another connection, I feel like they're protecting that person from the truth of how they feel about you. And here's the Eight of Wands. I feel like you could be very far geographically from this person. They may even have to travel to you by air in order to see you or something, but there's also the capacity of like a volcanic pressure that's building, and it emphasizes communication and movement towards you. And this could be sort of a fantasy that they come up with because they're still very curious. It's like they're waiting to feel that curiosity, and they're sitting in this dry desert. There's such thirst surrounding you as well. But there's also all these dunes to overcome. And these look like little pyramids, like these foundations that we have to overcome. And maybe not just one, maybe not just their foundation. Maybe it's very mutual and it's also your foundation. Because here's the Three of Swords and there's the Empress. They are saying that they are privy to some information about you. If you are the Divine Feminine and they're watching you, they may be aware of your current dynamic. Whatever that looks like to you, whether you're single, whether you're attached, whether you have a family, they know. And it disappoints them. So whatever situation you're in, they feel disappointed. And again, it just contributes to the attachment. It contributes to the hurdle. But again, it's really hard for them to protect the connection while trying to find their own inner balance, because that's them not prioritizing their own personal journey. It's them prioritizing the connection as a whole. But there's the Divine Feminine with the Queen of Cups. There's a really strong motherhood and healing energy surrounding the Divine Feminine. So you could perhaps work as some type of healer or work in the healing field, but you could also perhaps be a parent at this time as well. So please take that as it resonates. It is also speaking to the attachment that you perhaps are still currently feeling. Do they still care, please? What are their current thoughts? We have here the chaser in a codependent relationship, and they have a fear of abandonment issue. And that's what's contributing to the conflict and to the attachment. The hurdles are still here for you, pile 2. I feel like this person does still care. I feel like it's almost too much. It almost feels like too much, and they are holding on to the connection. We have self-indulgence, focus on themselves, self-work, time to heal, shadow work, and self-appreciation. And they're being very strategic. They're not showing how they truly feel in their environment. They're taking a gamble there. And it says risk. They do consider reaching out to you, perhaps. They are very curious and they feel a pressure for communication, but they feel stuck. And it almost looks like they feel like they're being observed, like they're being watched. Their actions are being watched. So they wouldn't be able to do it in the light, or they wouldn't be able to bring it to the full spectrum. They currently feel peace. Do they still care about pile number 2? We have here, I remember, soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. And the Six of Cups is all about remembrance, all about nostalgia when it comes to you, and how they get flooded sometimes with memories of you. Which I feel like the memories are so almost overly sweet, or they have really placed a lot of beautiful momentum around them, that it makes them feel like what they're sitting in is not as satisfying. We have inner earth, though. You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. And that's what the Temperance tries to get us to understand, is that we need to find solutions to our attachments. We need to find balance within the disconnect that we feel. Back of the deck says deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. And we were talking about in your spread, pile 2, about addiction and about even chemical addictions to emotions. And that's what they're speaking of, is that this person needs to work on this clearance for growth, trust in their intuition to guide them so they can break that cycle. And let's get a couple of message cards from this person to see what their thoughts are concerning this connection. What are their most recent thoughts, please? 1111, the angels are singing. So they could see signs of you or see repeating numbers and really associate any type of spiritual sign to your connection. But that's because they're focused on it. That's what Spirit's going to show them. It's like they're so focused on signs from you that that's what they're looking for. I surrender to what will be. And I want to move into a beautiful future with you. That came into pile 1, actually, that card. I'm hung up right now, and they're talking about surrendering to what will be. So I feel like they've surrendered to this conflict right now. It's like they've become too complacent with the imbalance that exists. We could have had it all together. I just saw mirrored soul paths. Nothing brings me peace, and this just doesn't feel right. Where are you and where have you been? It's like trying to keep tabs on you in whichever way they possibly can. For some, I feel like they're watching you because they're privy to what's going on with you. It's too hard. I don't know if I can do it. And on the back of the deck, it says, I'm having a hard time. I can't decide what to do. And that is really, it's really reflective of this Two of Swords, about a decision that has to be made, but they can't sort of make that decision. And it's connected to the 8 and the 2 of Swords, which is the 10 of Swords, which is the ending. Endings that can bring a new perspective, but it reflects upon a connection or a focus that has been consistent. It's like somebody who's focused upon you and focused upon you to the point where they have their heart kind of set upon you, pile 2. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 2. Advice for pile 2 about this connection moving forward. I do feel like this person might have some sort of intentions and curiosities, but I feel like they're going to be very passive and take a very passive approach to communication with you or a contact in the future. We have the 9 of Swords. And when I see the 9 of Swords reverse, I think of relief. It's like needing a relief, needing to be released from a torment, to be honest. And it's a call to action for this person because they're ruminating, they're doing this to themselves, and they're not allowing themselves to see the full spectrum of what's available to them right this moment. They do think about reaching out, but there could be a family here that lies in the balance, both either on your end or their end, and so that stresses them out quite a bit, and there's too much risk involved. But it's like that's the only way for them that they feel like they can end that cycle, is to talk to you, to get some clarity over how you're feeling. In the charm bowl today, pile number 2, you have the letter U. Sorry, I'm just trying to make room in this little bowl. We have the letter U. We do have the Y. It's like asking questions, asking themselves questions. We have the trumpet. I do think of proclamations, and I think about revelations as well, wanting to return from the dead, so to speak. We have the high priestess next to the mermaid, so it's a temptation that you represent. We do have the empress, and she has this big pink shell, so I think of motherhood and I think of abundance. We also have the diamond, so there could be commitments and a transformation for the divine feminine, so she could have moved into a commitment cycle that they may be privy to. All right, pile number 2, that's what I have for you today. I hope it resonates with you. If it does, drop your comment below for a chance to win a reading with me. I would love to read for you. Be sure to hit your notification bell if you do so, and be sure to share this video and to like it, leave your comment. It helps me to bring you guys more content, and I would love your help in that regard. So thank you guys so much for doing that. You can also check out my links below for Etsy, for a personal reading, or for Instagram. But I hope you come and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, pile number 3. You are drawn to the purple flower or to the Page of Cups here, and this is your reading. The person on your mind, have they moved on? Do they still care about you? Now, the Page of Cups here, she is looking at a little teacup, and I think of rest and I think of healing with the teacup. She's looking at a little goldfish, and so I do think of Pisces energy. And as soon as I said the goldfish, the spirit talked to me about amber, being an ember and like a fuel for more. So it could be that there is a lot of sort of youthful innocence surrounding your connection in the past. Maybe not a lot of experience between the two of you as well. This Page of Cups is also speaking about our intuition and trusting our intuition to guide us as well. And it's a very contemplative energy. She's relaxed, she's looking at the cup, she's contemplating sort of perhaps the youth and her past and the decisions that she made that led her to this spot. I also love that her dress is covered in all of these sunflowers because it talks about enlightenment and the full spectrum. So let's take a look here and see. Which deck do I want to use? I'll use this one. Have they moved on from pile number 3? Do they still care about pile number 3? What can you tell me, please, about this person's current feelings, their current... Here's the Hierophant with the 2 of Wands. We have the High Priestess. I feel like this person is very intuitive, or like they're working on their spiritual development in some way, or they consider their spiritual development along their journey. Not everybody does. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Have they moved on, please, Spirit? We have the Queen of Wands. I should also say that the Page of Cups can also indicate connection and contact as well. We have the Temperance. Back of the deck, we have the Strength and the Lovers. Oh my goodness. And as soon as I saw that the Strength energy, look at the tornado, and I just heard it's coming. The tornado is coming. Here's the Lovers. There's the 10 of Cups. Now, I feel like this person's in contemplation mode when they're thinking about you and thinking about connection, thinking about what they want in the future. I feel like there's a recognition that they're making plans and they can't execute plans now. And these plans could be towards clearance and growth, perhaps. They could be plans that they hope will result in a new emotional start with you. So let's take a look here. You could have worked with this person in the past, or there could have been a school work connection here of some kind. I'm also feeling like maybe even the gym or something like that. Like there's an instructional energy surrounding this 5 of Pentacles. And I feel like the two of you were being instructed at the same time, or you were in school together. But it may not have been like a traditional school. It might have just been a class that you took, for instance. They reflect upon those times quite a bit because that was the ignition. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We have the 9 of Pentacles. And they're saying that you were a distraction like it took them longer to do things back then because you distracted them, because they found you so beautiful or so physically attractive. The Nine of Pentacles represents somebody who works on themselves. It can also represent this person who's currently developing as a soul as well, because right this moment they're still curious about you, but they suppress it. They don't speak it to the world. You can even see here she's, you know, dealing with a crystal ball. There's some runes on the table. There's some tarot decks, and there's a bunch of books behind her. So I feel like this person has like looked into the spiritual development concerning this connection. So they may consider the two of you twin flames or soulmates or something of that nature, because they're really trying to understand the connection. They're very curious about the connection and what role it was supposed to play or is playing currently for them, because this Wheel of Fortune is right here, which means that they feel like you're a part of their huge story, that there was an important role that you had to play. They may also feel like you're a little bit, yeah, there's the Temperance with the wheel. It's like we're a little bit off balance. We're a little bit stuck in our wheel. And they're still very curious about you when it comes to physical energy. So this may be a very innocent connection. And that's been very similar along all three piles today, was the innocence surrounding the connection in a way. We have the Six of Swords. It almost feels like you're both waiting for clarity. It's like you're both waiting for the other person to act first. And there's definitely closure issues with this person. It's like we don't have closure or clarity. Now, they may be the type of person to have even looked into some type of tarot reading or rune reading or something of that nature, because they're just that curious about you and your perception of things. They realize, or their ego will tell them, that you're frustrated with them because they've kept you waiting. I don't feel like that may be a true representation of how you feel. You may just feel like there's a lack of clarity here, but they're worried about you being frustrated with them. And that's the ego kind of warning them about that. Again, it's not based on truth. It's based on their own fears, because that is what contributes more to the fear, because they know they're keeping you waiting, and there's an aspect of them knowing that they're going to have to keep you waiting, perhaps for a little bit of time. And what I'm noticing now is this cat. There's a cupcake that has fallen over, and there's a cupcakes on the pedestal. And I think with the cupcake of someone who wants their cake and eat it too. And that could be the reason why they're delaying, is out of necessity, because of a cake that they built, because of a foundation that they are a part of, or that you're a part of, and they have a fear of loss. And ultimately, Spirit says they can call the delay whatever they want. It's a fear of loss. But they're also contributed to this fear of loss is like, if I have a fear of losing something practical or being denied, but I also have a fear of losing you and keeping you waiting so long that it's not available to me anymore. But the truth is, they don't even know if it is in the first place. We have the Eight of Pentacles, and we have the Eight of Wands. Oh my goodness. Here's the Five of Cups. Oops, I'm trying to get that to stay. I moved my little thing. We have the Five of Cups and the Four of Cups. And they're together, that's the Nine of Cups, because this person still wishes upon you. I don't feel like they've moved on. I feel like they are even thinking about communicating with you. And I almost feel like they're working towards that. Like they're gaining mastery over whatever it is that's holding them back, that's making them feel feared, that's requiring the Temperance energy, requiring us to be rebalanced so that we can execute a new perception or a new beginning. But they're working towards perhaps communicating with you, new emotional starts. Now, this could mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. This communication that they do intend for you, pile 3, could be about closure and finishing the cycle, about closure and you know, eliminating at that point the distraction that you still represent in their life. But as I often say, you know, what we see as closure as the collective awareness and what Spirit sees as closure are two very different things. When we think that we need closure, it's actually like a backdraft energy, and it ignites the flame oftentimes as well, because here's the Eight of Wands. If it's going to be closure, there's a lot of fire associated with that closure. And I do feel like there's intention from this person to reach out to you, perhaps suddenly out of the blue, and perhaps inspired by the loss, because they mourn it. They still mourn it. And they still kind of kick themselves for not taking the action that they should have. So even if you didn't move into a relationship with this person, they're like, we should have. We should have moved into a relationship. How do they currently feel, please? Have they moved on? I feel like they're working on themselves though, and part of this soul development is about them listening to the notes of intuition that can help them clear out the clutter, because I feel like they're working on themselves, but in their capacity of understanding now about what Spirit's trying to tell them to do, the intense feelings that they have towards you is communicating to them that they should reach out to you, that they should gain closure. But the Spirit is saying that they're kind of like a fledgling little owl, like they're their intuition is growing, but they're still a baby within their intuition. And that's why perhaps Spirit is intending upon this delay, because if they reacted to their inspiration right now, they would perhaps reignite something that you're not ready for, or they're not ready for. We have soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So one flip. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. And that's what their understanding is about this process, is that they know they have to get themselves back into alignment. They have some type of understanding about their soul journey and how you're connected to it. But there's something so unique about you that even if their good sense says it's time to release you, they're like, I can't. How do I do that? How do I do that when this is such a special situation? And it's almost like their understanding of the soulmate connection is that soulmates are meant to be together, full stop, no problems, no obstacles. And that is not what is being communicated to them in the present realm with what they're viewing. We have healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. And sometimes I see that as a literal energy in the present 3D. So that could be the reason for the delay for someone watching, is there could be a family or another connection in place at this time. Please about pile number 3. Water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. I feel like they are really developing. I feel like they're working on themselves. But amidst this development, Spirit's trying to clear out all the clutter. They're trying to clear out all the blockages. And that's where your connection lies, is within the lower chakras, where they suppressed their feelings, where they didn't allow their expression out. And we have here, don't forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. And back of the deck says Star Keeper. Cosmic ancestors, see the light by staying grounded. When I saw Star Keeper, it connected me right to this 9 of Cups. And I feel like they're trying to keep a hold of that star. And that could be, again, it's like we can't always have evolution and holds from the past at the same time. So I do not feel like they have been able to successfully move on, pile 3. I feel like there's a development going on where they are being perhaps led to work on that imbalance. Now that could inspire them at this moment. They feel like that's inspiring them to take action towards you, but that could ultimately inspire them to continue that process of self-development. And I feel like it's almost been years since you guys have not seen each other. We have cassette, their outdated thinking, replaying things over and over in their mind. So it's like they're trying to recondition themselves, recondition their thinking. And love, unconditional love, unconditional. They have not moved on because their love is unconditional. But it also says self-love. And ultimately, I feel like they're connecting their self-love and the love for you. It's very intimately connected at this time. And the back of the deck says, or here, the back of the deck says engagement ring, but it says, I like you. Someone likes you. Romance is blooming, fun flirting, and wishing that they could date. But that feels very innocent in nature. It feels like it's coming from the past. Because now they're like, it's evolved. This feeling, this intense feeling has only grown. I used to like you. It's like I wanted to date, but now we've moved into this love energy here. And someone in this connection could have moved into another level of commitment. And ultimately, that's what is causing the delay in their intentions of reaching out to you. They could be very impulsive in reaching out to you in the future. Let's get a couple of message cards to see what sort of thoughts this person is having about pile number 3, please, right now. Do they still care, please, about pile number 3? And what sort of thoughts have been having about pile 3? This isn't right, and we both know it. Whatever is going on in the connection, the separation, the stagnation, it's not right. They feel like it was meant to be between the two of you. That's what they feel. That's their understanding at this point in their development. And this is heartbreaking. But the chaos that this creates is too scary right now. I saw smile though your heart is breaking, like the song. I'm making plans. ... but it's going to take them some time. This just doesn't feel right. That came out in pile 2 as well. I'm scared of unavoidable change. And then we have it's over, isn't it? But it's coming in the reversal. They don't want to admit that. The Ten of Swords is about release of something that I've really had my hopes set upon. It's a painful release. And they don't want to release. At least not at this time. Thoughts of you tempt me so much. I just saw I have a lot of responsibilities right now. And we have Ice Queen, so you may have kind of given them the cold shoulder in the past. And the back of the deck says, this stresses me out, on the back of that deck. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 3. What is some advice, please, about this connection for pile number 3? We have the Eight of Swords. We have the Six of Pentacles. We have the Hierophant. There is some type of understanding here that communication is necessary for clearance or for understanding or for growth. Again, the Hierophant is here, Taurus energy. It's like somebody who, again, an institution that created this type of connection, or an institution that was involved or invested in this connection in the past. So a job, a gym, some type of institution like that, someplace where you guys went to school together or worked together. And there was a lot of communication between the two of you, but not vulnerable communication. And that's the true essence of humanity. That's how we get ourselves out of this prison, or how we avoid them in the first place, is that we talk in a vulnerable way, or we express ourselves in a vulnerable way. But this person now feels stuck, perhaps in the dynamics of a karmic relationship, and that's what's impeding their growth now. But all of these impediments, Spirit says, they all have a different name, but they all reflect the same thing: fear, period. It's just fear. Because there are both positive and negative consequences that we can expect when we express ourselves. We have some, it's like I've made some progress, or they feel like they have, but there's also heartbreak here. Virgo energy. Here's the Q, so questions that they have. We also have the Screw, I think about physical energy. We have the Divine Feminine Stiletto, so seeing things from a new position, and also the Divine Feminine kind of raising her position, working really hard on herself. We have the little Hello Kitty, I think of little girls, and we have a blank card for creative accountability, so somebody who kind of put themselves in that prison. And then we also have a shovel. I think about the Knight of Swords and somebody who sticks their foot in their mouth. I also think about somebody who's digging themselves a deeper pit, ultimately, by avoidance. All right. That's what I have for you today, pile number 3. If it resonated with you, please drop your comment below. Please share this video, like this video. It helps me to bring you guys more content. And be sure to hit your notification bell so that if I choose you as the winner of the free tarot reading, I can notify you and we can get the progress or the process going. But I do hope that you come back here and visit me at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day.